Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Alpha Hustle. This is the midweek review of Bank Nifty on how the market auctioned during the first half of the week and analyze how it's placed currently for Wednesday's pre-expiry and expiry on Thursday. So let's quickly get started. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd of June, and the time is 8:30. So what we are looking at is the market profile charts for Bank Nifty. So in case if you're not aware of what market profile is, I've got a bunch of videos put up on my channel, for which I'll leave the link in the description below as well as in the iCard above. So now let's look at how the market auctioned over the last few weeks and what are the potential scenarios that may likely to play out in today's pre-expiry session. Market had a 3-day balance on the 17th, 18th and the 21st. On the 22nd, market opened higher right above this balance, and the buyers tried to take the control of the auction to the upside, had the one-time framing to the upside, where the buyers failed towards the composite point of control that was formed on the 15th and the 16th of June, leaving a failed auction in the C period. So where the sellers took the control of the auction from the buyers, started one-time framing to the downside and closed pretty much towards the low end of the range as well as back into the 3-day balance. However, today's pre-market suggests that we may likely to have a higher open compared to yesterday's settle. So we may likely to open back within the yesterday's range and the value area. So the first hour of the trade could be choppy. However, the open favors the buyers. The expected scenario for the buyers is to head towards yesterday's high and retest the failed auction that was left yesterday, and also the composite point of control at 35,300. In case if the buyers are good enough to take out yesterday's high as well as to find acceptance back above 35,300, we are heading for the retest of the supply zone at 35,500 and 35,600, where the buyers continuously exhausted within this zone. So we are likely to retest this zone. So any acceptance back above 35,600, we are heading for 36,000. So in case if the buyers fail yet again in today's auction and not able to take out 35,300, we are potentially looking at another liquidation leg back towards yesterday's low. However, the important reference to watch out for is 35,100. If the market starts to accept back below 35,100, odds favor the retest of the day's low. However, to start off with, the market is likely to choppy as long as we stay in yesterday's range and value area. So let's see where the market opens and tries to trade in the first hour of the trade. All right, so the time is 10:30. Market opened right within yesterday's range and value area around 34,950 levels. So right from the open, the sellers seemed to be dominating the auction. They took the control of the auction and started scaling down, especially trading by one time framing to the downside in A, B and C periods. So just a few minutes ago, we've taken out the lows from yesterday, and the sellers seem to be trying to find acceptance below yesterday's low and try to absorb the demand coming in around 34,600 levels. So clearly the sellers are in control of the auction. The volumes had been poor, especially for the first 10 minutes. However, sellers continue to keep the market below the VWAP, and we have got some nice bearish candles with some volume expansion. So it is interesting to see whether the buyers are going to come back or if sellers are going to continue auctioning lower. So the important reference to watch out for are the support pivot as well as the psychological reference of 34,500. If 34,500 gets taken out on the downside, we could expect more liquidation during the second half. In case if the sellers were to get exhausted in this zone, then the VWAP becomes the next reference to the upside. If the sellers fail to hold the VWAP and the buyers are able to claim it back, then probably we may see some short covering move towards 34,900 and 35 levels in the second half. All right, so the time is 12:30. And looks like the sellers failed below the yesterday's low, leaving a failed auction in the C period. For now, the market is kind of balancing within the lower distribution from yesterday. So as long as we stay within the yesterday's range, market is likely to be choppy. So it'll be an interesting second half where we would continue to trade between the rally high in E period and the failed auction in the C period. So for any auction to the upside, the buyers would need to take out the rally high in the E period and start to probe the day's high, and any acceptance above day's high would probably open up some short covering move towards the end of the day. Otherwise, it's highly likely that probably the sellers would continue to sell into the rallies within this balance, and the odds favor the retest of the failed auction that we have left in the C period. Volumes are below par, not much of an expansion, which suggests that the market is dominated by the day time frame traders. So for any explosive action, we would need the other time frames to step in. Welcome back. The time is 2:45 and looks like the sellers have come back strong, taking out this poor rally that we had at the back of some low volumes, some strong supply candles and expansion in volumes. The failed auction that we have left in the C period has now been taken out. However, I would expect the buyers to hold on to 34,500 and 34,550 levels. This is an important reference to watch out for. So in case if the sellers do get a follow through and are able to take out this level, we could expect some big liquidation break in the last 1 hour of the trade. So the time is 3:30 and the market has just closed. So broadly, the sellers were in total control of the auction today. So the one time framing to the upside has been stopped and the one time framing to the downside has been started by the sellers. So this suggests that the market is weak right now. So the market opened slightly higher in comparison to the previous day's settle. However, the buyers struggled to get a follow through above this balance high. It has been swiftly rejected and the sellers took over the control of the auction and started to one time frame to the downside in A, B and C periods. However, the responsive buyers stepped in around 34,600 levels to halt the selling, where the market spent the most of the time trading sideways, but buyers were never able to take the control of the auction despite trading above the VWAP for a considerable amount of time. So sellers once again towards the end of the day pushed the markets lower, clearing out the failed auction that was left in the C period and closing the day pretty much towards the low point of the day. So the context for tomorrow's expiry is sideways to bearish. It's sideways because we are in a broader range of 34,000 and 36,000. However, within this broader range, we're kind of trading towards the low end of the range. So I would be slightly inclined towards the bearish nature of the markets. However, the important reference that we'll have to monitor on the downside is 34,500. So as long as the 34,500 holds, the buyers may try to buy the dips. In case if 34,500 gets taken out and sellers are able to find acceptance below this level, we are looking at a liquidation break towards 34,000 and weak lows that were left on 18th and 21st of June. For context to change, the buyers would eventually need to take out 34,900 and 35,000 levels. So as long as they're not able to take this level, the sellers would attempt sell into any rallies towards this zone. So in case if 35,000 gets taken out and buyers are able to find acceptance above 35,000, the next reference to the upside is 35,300, where we have a failed auction yesterday, as well as the composite point of control that was formed on the 16th of June. So what's important for tomorrow is for the sellers to get follow through to today's low. In case if they are able to get that and take out 34,500, we are looking at lower prices towards 34,000. If not, we may continue to trade sideways. So that's all for today. I hope this information has been helpful. If you find this content useful, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.